Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. So, in 30 days, I've taken my client from less than 1% of the time they're on page one of Google to now just under 10%. So, on April 15th, first May 3rd, and then May 16th, you can see the progression of how the map has been changing from basically all red to now we're getting a lot more greens in the mix. So, what does basically the greens mean? What does SoLV stands for share of local voice? If you ever Google anything like HVAC near me, plumbers near me, psychic reading, anything that has a local intent behind it, Google's going to display three organic map pack listings. Sometimes there might only be two because of AI summaries, but for the most part, there's generally three, especially on desktop. So I gave an example over here, HVAC near me. This is actually one of the top results. Three organic map pack listings. Those are dots one, two, and three. Those are the dark green of the heat map that I just shared. So here's the trend for my clients. So again, on 415, I did the scan. We're less than 1% of the time on page one. Then we started to make some changes. We saw a little bit of success, and then we dropped. And we stayed consistent. Now, the consistent part is actually really important. So really from May 3rd through about, I would say, May 10th, for about a week, we were consistently, I would say, around the 4.96% of the time on page one. Then we had a little bit of an increase again, and then we dropped, and then we had our biggest increase that took place on May 16th. So I'm seeing a overall growth for my client, which is great. And again, the keyword here is personal injury attorney Mount Pleasant. So again, when I ran the scan on the 16th, you can really see the map change for them 4.89% higher for share of local voice. I'm using a very granular grid for them, 15 by 15. That's actually a lot more in the weeds than I do for some of my other clients. And I'm doing that because we're doing a 3 mile radius. So we're getting really granular when it comes to looking at the dots that we can flip, try to get more impressions, more high quality leads, and potentially more customers as well. So again, the heat map change, I think this is really important to share. 415, a lot of red. Then on May 3rd, I'm starting to see the map change from basically all red now to yellow, and now on the 16th, we're getting more green, which is great. Okay, so what was done? Now, there's more than simply just this, but I'm going to go over the main points. So top left, use SEMrush and Local Falcon to review the top competitors. So when I ran the keyword scan, not only did I look at what SEMrush would show for the websites, but then I also used Local Falcon as well to look at the top competitors via Google Business Profile to see who my competition was, and then I had to review them. I used ChatGPT and Copilot as ways to kind of really summarize where the gaps were with my current strategy. Next, I ran consistent scans for that keyword, which is really important. I had to see if we were improving our share of local voice. It's not going to be instantaneous. That's why I tell people local SEO just take a few months to really see results because there's a lot of trial and error to see kind of what sticks. Next, on their Google Business Profile, I made a lot of changes. Things like their description, adding more services, removing services, adding updates, product listings. I even played around with some of their categories as well to really understand, hey, what is potentially working for their account. And consistency is a big factor when it comes to that. Next, top right, my client does receive reviews, which is phenomenal. One thing I'm always preaching to all my clients is diversify away from Google. So don't only go for Google business profile reviews, get reviews on Yelp, Facebook, and any other platform, trustindex.io, that you can get to diversify away from Google. I think that's a ranking factor, but also it really protects you because you don't want to only get Google reviews. And then if Google removes some of those reviews, there goes your reviews. All right. So the middle row, far left. So I made schema markup changes to the website, landing page builds, image optimization. Some of this actually got cut off, looks like in the PDF, but basically, really what I did was I made several changes to their landing pages, title tags, meta descriptions, internal links, rewriting the content, image optimization. There's a lot that takes place on the website. That's why the local SEO service I provide, it's not just only your Google business profile. We have to make the changes as well on the website for the two to really connect. Next, we added the trustindex.io widget to the website. I do that for two reasons. One, it builds more trust for potential customers, but also has schema markup behind it. So again, my client gets the reviews. That's the harder part. Simply, I'm just embedding the widget on their site. That's very easy. Next, update the Google Business Profile link from their homepage to one of their landing pages as a test. And I'm actually seeing really good results with that. I'm always experimenting that with my clients as well, especially for my clients that have seasonality like HVAC. I'll play around with the landing page from homepage. Let's say to them their HVAC, to their AC installation page, or in the winter furnace repair, just to see kind of what that does. Next, I sync the changes directly from Apple Maps into Bing Maps. I think that's important just to kind of show consistency, name, address, phone number. And of course, there's more. I didn't even get into things like using ChatGPT to review things like the heat map, and also reviewing things like the towns and the cities that have the most opportunity to get a better flip, to have more population, to have more impressions, and potentially have more eyeballs on my client's account based off a better positioning with that. But anyway, I wanted to kind of share this update. Again, 30 days from less than 1% now to 9%. Let me know if you guys have any questions about kind of what I'm doing, or maybe if you have any questions about your account. And as always, have a good rest of your day.